Back once again, AD on the radio.
The flitter, it's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme say. I run a game like a cheater.
You know, I'm trying to enjoy today's show. And I will enjoy today's show. I always have a great time. You know what?
What's
like, honestly,
wrong now?
let me just walk that back a little bit. Oh, you're the problem, Funkhouser. You are the problem, and I'll tell you why in just a second. I'm going to walk that back and first and foremost say that, I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit, Funkhouser. I don't get paid to do this. I've been doing this show for 2.5 years. Don't get paid to do it. Not complaining. I'm just, I want to illustrate to you the level of love that I have for hanging out and doing this and having you as part of my radio family. So every single day that I do this, I enjoy this show. And it is a part of something larger, and it's a part of something that we are building. And,
can we go into a more comfortable place if you're going to knock me out? Can we just go outside?
No. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's just like I'm trying to enjoy today's show. And like I said, I love doing this. Oh, very nice. We're outside. We're broadcasting outside now. This is a sort of prize-winning theater of the mind that will have us doing free radio for another 3 years. But whatever the case may be, I love this. I love doing this. This is the best. And, man, we couldn't be more excited to, be doing what we're doing. We love our radio family. And it's so freaking cool that I get to do this. And it's part of all the other radio shenanigans that I do. And you know what? Interestingly enough, and this is telling about what it is we do. Everything else that I do, someone gives me money for. This is something that I do because I love it. And I believe that if we do it well enough and for long enough, it will become its own thing, and this is what we're going to wind up doing. But until then, I'm not bothered because this is the best part of my day every single day. It really, really is. Hanging out with you, having you be part of my radio family, having you join in the conversation, this is the best thing that I get to do, be a part of a community, try and leave the world a bit of a better place than how I found it. This is what I love about radio. This is why radio, of all the mediums that we could be a part of, radio is the most a part of something that I feel enriches people's lives on a daily basis. Now, not everything we do is going to be that freaking edifying. Not everything we do is going to be that great. Sometimes you might be like, I could have done without that. But in general, what we're trying to do every single day is to share some laughs, share some fun, share some conversation, and leave the world a little bit better than the way we found it every single day on the air. That said, it is difficult to enjoy today's show. Why? Because tomorrow I will be here. And where will you be, Funkhouser?
Oh, I'm just going to be hanging out in, I don't know, Vegas.
Oh! Interesting. And what will you be doing in Vegas, Funkhouser?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just hanging out with some friends, getting paid to do some work there.
Friends that work in what industry?
On the clock there.
On the clock.
I don't know. I guess... would it be adult industry, maybe?
Oh, really? So you're getting paid to hang out with a bunch of people in the adult industry. Now, these are not the creepy directors and producers. You will be working directly with... But you will be working directly with scantily clad porn stars and getting paid for it for the next 3-4 days. This is true, right?
Oh, yeah! It's going to be good times.
And your newly single friend, Tri Fung, one of your besties...
He loves when we talk about him.
You're bringing him along, and you're bringing Tri Fung along and putting him to work. He's going to be the person that does what? He's going to be the autograph getter. What is Tri Fung's, and note the sarcastic air quotes around this word, job?
Well, because we're on the radio, everybody on the radio has to get their release form signed, and Mr. Tri-Fung is the guy that they have to get their release form signed, so he has to meet everybody.
Oh, so he's got to actually hang out with and have pieces of conversation with, and I believe in this situation, to make the day go a little bit quicker, some of these female entertainers get a little inebriated, get a bit liquored up, right?
Well, some of them have some libations, sure, especially in Vegas.
So basically, you're taking your other friend, and you are putting him in one-on-one contact, giving him an opening line with a conference center, a convention center full of only the hottest adult entertainers on the face of the planet. That's what's happening with you and your other friend over the next couple of days. Well, I'll be here.
Other friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
I would have loved to take you, but...
I had the option of going this time, but I couldn't. Why? Well, because there's work to be done here, back at the homestead. All the other jobs that do, in a vague sense, pay my bills in some way, shape, or form, or a close approximation thereof, so I don't have to sell as many bodily fluids to make rent at the end of the month. They involve responsibility, and I will be here fulfilling those responsibility.
Lame.
Lame. While Funkhouser takes Tri-Fung to Vegas and tries to get him to
call you and check
certain
in?
responsibilities.
I can have all the girls leave a voicemail for you.
Oh.
You can make a montage of them going, "Hi, AD, wish you were here."
Oh, that would be, yeah, please do that.
All right, I'll work on that.
All right. If I were to win $1,000, I could probably take a couple days off work and go hang out with Funkhouser, Tri-Fung, and the porn stars in Vegas, and you could win $1,000. Cash in and win $1,000 listening to Real Radio 104.1 weekdays 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Text the keyword that you hear to 45495 for your chance to win $1,000 for sending a text. Details at realradio.fm.
Let's start the show. 1, 2, 3, AD from your radio live and uncut. Tonight, you're cutting loose and having fun. That's my job, and my job's about to get done. Yeah, that's how I'm operating.
Real Radio
104.1. Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, public, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want.
So, did you catch this? This is kind of, well, some people are saying it's purely coincidental. Some people are saying it's a little bit eerie. There was, the episode of The Simpsons. It's a strange coincidence. 3 years ago, there was an episode of The Simpsons, kind of a classic, featuring a scene with David Bowie and Alan Rickman, both who passed away last week at age 69. The episode had a Love Actually parody with a cheating husband like the one Alan Rickman played in the movie. In the background, they played All the Young Dudes, a song written by David Bowie for Mott the Hoople that David Bowie went on to do as his own, because really, it's so funny because, I know sort of, big David Bowie fans that, we'll see, on Pandora, it'll come up, or some. Oh, excuse me, on iHeartRadio, they'll come up and they'll go.
Now look what you've done.
Yeah. I've released the Kraken. On iHeartRadio, they'll be like, I love this song. And they'll be like, hey, that's weird. This David Bowie song, it's labeled wrong. It says Mott the Hoople. It's so synonymous with David Bowie that it really has become a David Bowie song over the years. But that was what was in The Simpsons. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it really is kind of a freaky coincidence.
The Prime Minister, that is to say, I would like to make an emergency declaration of love to my poor but cheeky secretary.
What, me? Eliza Commonbottom?
That is to say, flippity-jibbity.
Love is more powerful than all my magic.
Hard to believe that country used to rule anything.
Agreed. But to win back our women, we need to make a grand romantic gesture.
Hear, hear!
After we finish watching the movie.
Anyways, interesting stuff. Did that work, Funkhouser? Was that loud enough? Could you hear? Did you know what was going on?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Sometimes I yell at you off the thing. But
yeah. Oh, Funkhouser. Oh, that was off the air? See, Funkhouser yells at me sometimes. He'll be like just there. He was like, louder! And I thought that was on the air.
No.
And I never know. And so, excuse me for continuing a conversation that was supposed to be private in public, Funkhouser. But isn't that what we do? We live out our private lives in public for the entertainment of others, like dancing monkeys. That's basically what we are. Today in the show, you and I are going to discuss how, it's an interesting one to be sure. Sean Penn has gone on the record saying that his interview with El Chapo was a dismal failure. And it's like, well, you got the interview. And what else happened? Oh, they captured El Chapo, and it was in no small part due to the fact that you did an interview. And how could this be a failure? Well, Sean Penn's bar of failure. Sean Penn's bar of failure, and I know this after watching literally pretty much everything since Fast Times at Ridgemont High, is a little different than the rest of ours, so we'll get into that a little later on. Why did Sean Penn feel like his interview with El Chapo was a failure? We'll talk about it after we get into the events of today in our segment, My Witness News, in no way, shape, or form fair, certainly not balanced. Funkhouser, how are you, and what is going on in the world?
I'm getting out of here today, so...
Yeah.
I mean, tomorrow or something, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
A study found that we sleep better after having sex.
In a related story, I did not sleep that much over the last, entire adult life. I've been a card-carrying insomniac since the third grade. And I think, you can't blame not being able to good night. When you're 8 years old, you can't blame the fact that you're not getting a good night of sleep on that. But as an adult, I wonder if I'd been more successful with the ladies, if I'd be a better sleeper. Go figure. You know, one thing that actually really, really did improve my ability to sleep, and this is not an advertisement for the company, but like when I started working at a new radio station, there was a client they had called Jerome's, which is a furniture store, and they do this thing where they find you the right... I swear to gosh, I'm saying this not because they're paying me. They pay me to say this on other radio stations, but I cannot tell you. And look, Funkhouser, you ever had real insomnia problems? Have you?
Oh, I'm sorry. What? Where am I?
Have you ever had sleep problems?
Sometimes, but not. It's rare.
If you've had chronic sleep problems, you know it is absolutely no joke. It can affect your health long term. It can affect your day short term. And I tried everything. I tried doctors and sleeping pills and a sleep clinic, and especially the sleeping pills. Those were ugly because they would get me into this weird fitful sleep where I had strange dreams, and then I would wake up the next morning and like feel hungover even though I didn't drink. And it was just like, none of that was any good whatsoever. Like, getting the right mattress and the right pillow made a tremendous difference in my day-to-day existence. I wake up feeling good. I'm better at work. I'm better at home. Everything's just better since I got myself a new mattress. So if you're having problems sleeping, I understand. I don't mean to trivialize, but it really could be all about that, because this is a guy that hasn't slept since the third grade. And, all of a sudden, my life is radically different because of a freaking mattress. Who'd have thunk it? But if you're having problems sleeping, do yourself this favor. Try and go find yourself the right one. Didn't fall off the back of a truck for $350. Try and get yourself one that is fitted to you. It makes all the difference. More info at Jerome's.com. Time for a yawn and a stretch and a walk.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
So, Funkhouser, you're going away to hang out with a bunch of porn stars.
Yeah, you want me to say anything to like Joanna or any of the other girls we had on for you?
Tell them I said hello.
All right.
and that we look forward to having him back on the show. I'm not going to take the bait and be like insanely jealous of the fact that you're doing something cool and different and interesting. And like honestly, like I don't want to come across as a skeevy, oh God, I'd love to hang out with porn stars guy. But the spectacle of an adult entertainment convention is something that has been sold to me for a long time. Like, dude, our friend Brian, who books us some of our guests on the show, I've known him for years and years and years, and he's always said, you have to come to one of these conventions. You have to. You're going to love it. It's amazing because it is a spectacle unlike anything that you've ever seen. And if I get a chance to see something that I've never seen before, I want to. Like, just anything that is vaguely mind-blowing, that is different from...
I'm sorry, what? Anything that's what?
Vaguely mind-blowing is something that I want to see. I want to see something like anything different, like if there are boobs involved, great, but it's not necessary. It's just I've heard that it is such an incredible spectacle that I would love to. I'd love to bear witness to it, and it's something that I planned on doing. I was almost able to do it this time, but yeah, not so much. Lame. So I'm not. Yes, lame. I will not be bearing witness to everything that Funkhouser has become accustomed to. It's old hat for Funky. But let me ask you this. If you are going off to the Adult Entertainment Expo and hanging out with professionally naked chicks, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess you're in a fairly secure spot with Canadian Jane, your girlfriend, who is not going to go with you.
Yeah, we're cool. She's got to work, She's going to miss me and I'm going to miss her, but I have to work too.
Right. But she doesn't have a problem with the content of your work.
Nah. That would never work if she did, right?
Maybe not long term. It depends. Like if you continue to do this sort of work, then I could see it being a scotch difficult for someone to take. Like maybe once or twice, but it's just like after a while, I could see maybe some of the cracks starting to show. But I mean, also here's the thing about Funkhouser: you are a respectful individual, and I've never seen you comport yourself with anything other than dignity toward yourself and the lady that you're with in these situations. So. She doesn't have anything to worry about.
Plus, I included her. We went to a pajama party last week together with a bunch of porn stars and stuff. She had a great time. So,
good.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, see, that's good. That's a good thing. And look, not everybody is in that secure place in their relationship, as illustrated by comedian Jennifer Murphy.
I actually spent a good part of my day today, Googling personality disorders. Is that weird? Just because I recently got dumped, and I'm just like, I'll find out what's wrong with him. Because it is not me. No, it's me. It's because I tried to get into that relationship. I just became an alcoholic instead. Is that normal? Is that a normal reaction to intimacy? I think I waited too long. I've been single my whole life. You can't wait till almost 40. And then be like, I'm going to be intimate now. After just a lifetime of one-night stands, right? I'm like, oh, we have to look at each other? Nobody ever told me that relationships are really just the world's longest staring contest. Right? Because eventually you run out of to talk about, and you're like, you're still here?
Well.
We should do some shots.
You know what? And that is why Funkhouser is good to Canadian Jane, because that's what's out there.
Oh,
that is what is waiting for you if you don't make the relationship with your current sweetie pie work. Hence the tender loving care that I've seen him invest in his day-to-day relationship. All right, more news, Funkhouser. Let's get back to it.
All right, so this thing. America's first vegan butcher shop is open in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Vegan butcher shop.
Huh.
Hipsters, you have found your mecca. It features a steak made from garbanzo beans and tapioca flour and the tears of cattle ranchers. I'm actually really interested to give this a go.
Yeah, you have people that live in Minneapolis. You could actually go there and do it.
Right? Yeah. So I think, next time I do make my way to Minneapolis, which I do every once in a while, I think I'm going to give it a shot, because I was a vegan for many, many ill-advised years of my life. It was just, it wasn't out of any sort of principle, or I wasn't a very precocious hipster in the 8th grade. I had hippie parents, and somehow the concept of veganism came up, and before I knew it, we were eating tofu mushroom quiche for Christmas dinner, and I was going, this is sort of okay. And now I'm making up for lost time, eating as much rare, raw, bloody, almost mooing, skilled vet could bring it back to life beef as I humanly can shove down my cavernous gullet. But I always wonder about those years where I existed on a vegan diet, because I didn't necessarily feel like I was missing anything. It was only when I actually had some meat and woke up the next morning going, I feel like a god, and the head rushes have stopped. You know, I wasn't getting any iron. Like, it was okay when I was at home eating mom's tofu and mushroom concoctions that provided protein and all that sort of stuff. But when I was a guy in a band and got out on the road and I existed mostly on toast and Denny's salads, I'd start feeling lightheaded in the middle of the day, couldn't figure out why. And then I ate a chicken wing and felt instantly better. And I was like, there you go. But I've occasionally eaten vegan meals, gone to a vegan restaurant up the road from where I live in Texas, and then in California when I'm out here, there's all sorts of vegan options. And I've tried it a couple times. Be like, I ate this way for 12 years. Let's give it a go. And it always seems to be, A, not that good, B, not that good for you, because it always seems to be some sort of fried grain thing, like, a veggie burger or a vegan burger. And it's like, it's sort of grains compressed together, held together by God knows what, and then deep fried, and it's spicy as hell to give it some flavor, and it basically is like eating greasy fried cardboard, greasy fried spicy cardboard. And I was like, this sucks. But I am curious, like, having been a vegan for 12 years, to give this a go and see how that all works out. I don't think it's going to lure me away from the soulful allure of delicious dead animal, but I'll be curious to try the nation's first vegan butcher shop, which has opened in Minneapolis. And I think they have those slicers. It's just like, give me a quarter pound of pastrami sliced thin, and they've got some sort of pastrami substitute that they can put on the slicer and slice for you and put in a little white parchment paper, and you can take it away and put it on a sandwich like that. So it's kind of an interesting take on vegan or vegetarian food. My curiosity is aroused. Go on, what else?
Experts blame the plunge in oil prices on decreased demand.
Yeah, well, that could change the next time either Ted Cruz or Jimmy Kimmel try to decide to shellac their hair. But otherwise, yeah, people are starting to go like, oh, electric cars. You know what that means? You know what you have to spend on gas? Nothing. And in this economy where you're, struggling on a regular basis, where for most people I know, it doesn't matter how much money people make. It doesn't matter what income bracket they're in. I find that most of the people I know have the same concerns. They could be making $20,000 a year. They could be making 50 or 60. They could be making 100. They could be making hundreds. But they're all worried about making it to the end of the month, which says we as Americans live outside our means a lot of the time. But it also says that we live in a period of economic uncertainty. So the fact that it costs almost nothing to get your electric car to go from A to B is something that appeals to people. All the folks that are just like, it's kinder to the environment, I think they found pretty definitively not so long ago that when you add up everything that goes into the process of putting electricity in an electric car, you're leaving a larger carbon footprint than something that operates on gasoline. So, people can say, oh, yeah, I'm being kinder to the environment. You're being kinder to your pocketbook, and that is often how people will lead off their thinking process. How am I going to make it to the end of the month? Ooh, this is cheaper. I'll do that. But yeah, oil prices are continuing to plunge. Go on. What else? What else is going on in the world?
The Rams, sports. The Rams are leaving St. Louis for Los Angeles.
Yeah, saving St. Louis taxpayers all kinds of money, too. Like, I think there was going to be like $400 million to keep the Rams there. And they were like, okay, later.
Bye.
Yeah. The city's heartbroken by the news. But I'm sure L.A. will feel better as time. Go on.
Tom Brady does not drink coffee.
Yeah. If you're still under this impression that you're going to become that ripped-toned, shredded super athlete with single-digit body fat and a noticeable six-pack by the time swimsuit season rolls around, if you're not like me, if you haven't just told yourself, waddling and sweating is fine. I don't care. I don't care waddling and sweating around the beach, being afraid that I'm going to get mistaken for a whale and wind up inadvertently harpooned. Like, if you're like me, where you've sort of accepted that your fitness goals are a little lower, a little bit more different, you just don't want your stomach to jiggle for too many Mississippis when you brush your teeth. If you don't fall into that category and you're still under the impression that your New Year's resolution, which, unlike the rest of us, you did not give up on early on January 1st. And you're going to be that ripped, toned, shredded super athlete. Well, what I find amazing is people love knowing what folks eat. Look, Tom Brady's physical life, I don't care how different, I don't care what he eats. His life is different than yours. It is his job to do this. You have to fit your fitness in around a job, unless you're, I don't know, someone or something where fitness is an integral part of your professional life. You're not Tom Brady. You don't train like him. But people still want to know, ooh, Tom Brady's in good shape. What does he eat? Whenever you see someone in good shape, you're like, ooh, what do they eat? And so Tom Brady has been letting slip little bits about his diet. Like he doesn't have... he doesn't eat tomatoes. He doesn't...
what?
He doesn't have... Yeah, he doesn't eat tomatoes. And I wonder why. Maybe he just doesn't like them. There was no science behind it. But now I know, like, I saw somebody pick... a coworker of mine that worked down the hall at one of the sports stations was picking the tomatoes off their sandwich the other day. I was like, what you doing? Don't like tomatoes? Why'd you order a sandwich with tomatoes? And like, oh, they put them on anyway. I was like, oh... You don't like tomatoes? They're like, I love tomatoes, but it just apparently they're not that good for you. Tom Brady doesn't eat tomatoes, so I'm not going to eat tomatoes. I was like, my head exploded with the flawed logic of every portion of your thinking, and just, no. But among other things, Tom Brady doesn't drink coffee. So it's as I thought. When he said he enjoyed 2 cups in the morning, he's talking about Giselle's. And good for him. Good for him. Let's all think about how that's good for him for a second.
Doodly-doo.
Thinking about it. Yep, good for him. Go on.
Former NFL running back Lawrence Phillips was found dead in his prison cell, and officials suspect suicide.
Yeah, sad news. But it begs the question, anything to add, OJ? Go on.
A woman knitted a life-size version of her son to cuddle with.
Did you see this?
I did.
I put it up on my Facebook page.
I wanted my mom to do the same thing, but she crochets. She can't knit.
So, like, this woman, I guess, has a teenage son, and the teenage son doesn't want to cuddle with her anymore, so she did what all sane women did and knitted a life-size version of her son to cuddle with. I put it up on my Facebook page, and one astute listener pointed out that, hey, teenage sons aren't supposed to cuddle with you. That's weird. You should be knitting yourself a husband. I thought that was very good. Yeah, her real son can't cuddle because he's too busy murdering women and wearing their skins. Go on.
Donald Trump says the world is laughing at America's stupidity.
I disagree. They might be laughing at our obesity. They might be laughing at the way we can't get religion out of our politics, and they might be laughing at the fact that we still wear jean shorts, but no, we are a nation of intelligent people. I reject that, Donald Trump. I saw somebody wearing jean shorts the other day. Jorts, I think people call it. Did you ever own jorts? Did you ever have those late 90s, early 2000s big baggy jorts with your chain wallet in it, Funkhouser?
No, thank you.
You never did?
No, I didn't. I had the chain, but I didn't have jean shorts. I had the cargos with the zip, they're pants and you can zip off the bottom part. And then
I still have a pair of those. You know what? Like I have a pair of cargo pants where you can zip the legs off. I tried them on the other day because I've got a whole bunch of stuff in storage. They didn't look bad. I was just like, wow, here's a fashion error that I can continue making 8 years later. Good for me.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Why did Sean Penn consider himself a failure? I know the first thing that comes to mind is pretty much every movie after Fast Times at Ridgemont High, specifically Gangster Squad. But no. The reason he considers himself to be a failure is his interview with El Chapo, and we'll get into that after we finish rolling through what remains of the news in our segment, My Witness News, in no way, shape, or form fair, certainly not balanced. Funkhouser, what else is going on?
10% of people say they hug their coworkers.
Yeah.
You know what I am. Come on, bring it in. Come on.
I don't know if you've heard this story yet. But Funkhouser and I, when we first met, we found out we were going to be working together. And we do this show. I don't think it's any big secret. Oh, there you go. I don't think it's any big secret that once upon a time that Funkhouser and I do this show in different rooms in different cities. We are connected through the magic of ISDN, and that is how we bring you this display of rapier wit and award-winning news programming that we are responsible for every single day.
Award-nominated.
Are we? I'm nominated for award. I am. I got nominated for an award this year. Major Market Music Director of the Year. That's what I'm nominated for.
Ooh.
Thanks to the fine folks over at Radio Contraband. I would tell people to go vote for me, but you can't unless you work in radio, and I think the voting period is over, and I did not win. I don't think, because the convention happens soon, and I think they, if you win, they pay for you to show up and accept your award, and no one's been like, hey, what are you doing between the days of this and that and the other? But, it's nice just to be nominated. It's funny, I told my boss I was nominated. I was like, hey, I got this nominated for Major Market Music Director of the Year award. And she was like, that's so cool. I was like, is it? And she was like, this is why I like working with you. 'Cause I had no idea what it is or what
Yep.
But you know what? The thing that I liked about it, the thing that I liked about being nominated, if I may again peel the curtain back on our little situation here, is that, look, I'm known as being kind of, as a radio programmer, a bit of a tough nut to crack. But I like to think that, like, a lot of people in my position just don't return calls, don't talk to people. Like, screw you, screw your band, screw the record. I'm going to do what the hell I'm going to do. And I think that's lame. So even if it's a no, I'm not going to play your record. I get back to people. And just that simple act of human kindness of going like, hey, you deserve a call. You've put some work into this, and here's the situation. No, we're not going to be playing this band, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't send me stuff in the future. And keep plugging away. We'll get one on the air at some point. And just that little act of courtesy but this shows how far we've slipped as a society. A small act of courtesy got me nominated for an award. I'm not especially good at my job, and those people don't care if I am. Anyway, hey, we're talking about how we met. Yeah. So we do this award-winning, award-nominated radio in separate rooms. But one day, Funkhouser happens to be in the same town as me before we've even started working together. He's like, hey, man, we're going to be working together, and I'm in your town, and we should meet. And I was like,
yeah, they assigned me you here at the corporate offices of the Death Star. Yeah. They assigned me you, and I said, I should meet the person I'm pushing the colored buttons for. So, and I'm here. I might as well get some coffee there.
Yeah. And I went, ugh, it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
I never met any of my other producers in person. Why should today be any different? This eats into my sitting around in my underwear watching Seinfeld time. But you know what? It is a nice thing.
And
as
it was on my best behavior. I was like, hey, AD, we're meeting. We're working. Let's meet. Ha! Lots of energy.
Yeah, and I am not a person that falls into that high energy, good to meet you category most of the time. So we meet in the parking lot. I see Funkhouser walk across the parking lot toward me outside of the iHeartMedia building.
Oh, it was just like a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I go to, I extend my hand to shake my new coworker's hand. And the words, I'm a hugger, come out. And I got a big Funkhouser hug, as opposed to a handshake when we first started working together.
A hug is like 100 handshakes, and
a hug is like 100 handshakes. And you know what? We've had a successful and happy working relationship ever since.
You're due for another hug, there, buddy.
You know what? I think I am. And we've been working in separate rooms ever since. But yeah, 10% of people say they hug their coworkers. Although, if you disqualify pro wrestling and the porn industry, that number goes way down. Do you hug your coworkers besides me, Funkhouser?
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you hug Bill, the guy that put us on the air together?
No.
Do you give Bill a big old cuddly hug?
That's the one.
You know, Friday, you both put in a long.
It's like, come on, week. Bring it in, Bill.
Bring it in. Workplace foul.
One more time. Try it again.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
You know, but Bill's a guy that, you know, I mean, Bill is the dude. When we talk about the Grand Dragons of talk radio putting us on the air.
He
Bill
really
is that grand.
You, but...
Yeah, I know he loves it when I call him that. Bill is the guy that put us on the air, and he's the guy that connected Funkhouser and I. And so, like, you know, we really have Bill to thank. And when I've met him.
Can we
again,
include Jack into the Grand Dragons of talk radio at this point?
Well, it's just I've never had the opportunity to hug Jack. He's out in Florida. You know, the guy that was the first program director that believed in us enough to put us on the air on a terrestrial station would be Jack Bradshaw at Real Radio 104.1 in Florida, and he's due for a hug. He's due for a hug. And when we see you, Jack, bring it on in because Funkhouser's a hugger. But yeah, I have met Bill in person a couple times and had tremendously grateful for the opportunity that he's given us to do wind sprints and push-ups and I think it was that dude bro hug where you shake with one hand and sort of like clasp each other in the other way, and that's how I'm comfortable hugging people. What's interesting is like female coworkers will go to hug me during like, you know, holidays, like bye, great year of work or whatever, and they go to hug me, and I always try and go in for that side hug. You know, like where you don't comment because like
I would go all in.
Yeah, well, that's the difference
your freebie.
Between you. That's you and I look at the world differently. I can see that, and that's part of what makes this show interesting. We'll discuss why Sean Penn is a failure in his own eyes next.
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
I don't know how I feel about this, Funkhouser.
What?
There's a children's book that features slaves. See this?
No.
Now, on the one hand, we shouldn't shield children from a shameful piece of the world's history, and it's not like America had the exclusive on slavery. But on the other hand, we don't want to present it in a sanitized, safe for children way, which makes them think it's sort of okay. What happened is this. Scholastic just tried to publish a children's book about George Washington's slaves baking him a birthday cake, and the backlash was so crazy that they had to pull it. They halted distribution after people complained. It's about two slaves named Hercules and Delia, a father and a daughter, who want to bake him a cake but have no sugar. Washington actually had slaves named Hercules and Delia in real life, but they weren't very happy. I don't think they were going out trying to bake him cakes. Hercules escaped the White House on Washington's birthday in 1797 and left his daughter behind.
Oh, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. What?
So, yeah, it's a weird one for sure. It's this sort of situation where you want to present history to kids, but you also want to be, like, slavery is such an ugly thing. And you don't want to present it. Slavery is such an ugly thing, and you do absolutely want children to learn from the shameful history of slavery all around the world. But can you put it in a history book and present a sanitized version of it where happy slaves want to bake George Washington, their master, a cake? No, I don't think you can do that. But it does raise the interesting question of when it's okay to start introducing the concept. When can children's minds appreciate it and understand it for the atrocity that it was? I don't know. That's one of the questions I don't have the answer to. And I think it really is one of those things that comes down to the parents, because it's the parents that are going to, you can't, these big issues, man, you cannot rely on a school system to deal with them. The talk about the birds and the bees, the idea of human atrocity, it's up to you to decide when your kid is ready to take all this stuff in. And you just, one of the many stories that says to me, hey, be involved as a parent. Parent your kids. Because they're exactly that, your kids. And people going like, well, I don't know about like Common Core or whatever. And yeah, no, look, I mean, every kid is different. Every kid learns differently and all of the above. And for the record, Common Core, not something that I'm on board with. And that's a whole other show and a whole other conversation. But no matter what the school program is, you know, expecting a school program to absolve your responsibility to your child's upbringing, moral, educationally, and in any other way, shape, or form. It's just, you don't get a pass on any of that stuff. And I think that's why it's so important for the parents to be involved in this situation because, well, then you have to deal with educational companies feeding your kids, and this is a scholastic company, feeding your kids weird, sanitized stories of happy slaves wanting to bake George Washington a cake. No, the truth couldn't be any further from that. This particular slave escaped from escaped from the White House on George Washington's birthday, wanted to get out of there so bad that he left his daughter behind. Anyways, Sean Penn went to a lot of trouble to interview El Chapo, but now feels that the Rolling Stone article that resulted from it was an absolute failure. On 60 Minutes the other night, he said, quote, I have a regret that the entire discussion about this article ignores its purpose, which was to try to contribute to this discussion about the policy in the war on drugs. And you know what? If that was the message, then it did absolutely get obscured by the fact that Sean Penn interviewed El Chapo and that Sean Penn contributed to the capture of El Chapo and now should definitely be looking over his shoulder. Penn denied the interview led the Mexican government to El Chapo, which is not what the Mexican government or the authorities over here say. He said, quote, we had met with him many weeks ago on October 2nd in a place nowhere near where he was captured. And he believes that the Mexican government is perpetuating that myth to put him in the crosshairs of the cartel. But he said he's not fearful for his life. I don't know. Would you be fearful of your life? Fearful for your life, Funkhouser, in this situation?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. If the
one more security guard, please.
Yeah, if the narrative that is being perpetuated by both the American government and the Mexican government is that you led to the arrest of one of the biggest, most feared drug lords on the face of the planet, I would be a little concerned about the security that you'd employed, and you might want to step it up. And the usual entertainment industry security probably won't cut it. You know, it's just like, oh, he kept groupies away from Slash and Axel in 1986. It isn't the kind of detail that you're going to need in this situation. The New York Times posted a detailed account of El Chapo's capture. There's video around as well, and they do say the Mexican government tailed Sean Penn. But another thing that led to his capture was apparently an order of tacos. Did you hear this, Funkhouser?
No.
Tacos. I mean, I think what led to El Chapo's capture was his vanity. It's crazy. Here's this guy escaped on the lam. I don't know why they call it that, but he was on the lam. He's on the run from the authorities. Look, El Chapo has cash. He has all the resources necessary to go into hiding and not come up for air. He wants to keep a very, very low profile while people are trying to put him back into prison. And for whatever reason, he felt like he needed an interview in Rolling Stone magazine. What jeopardized his freedom? What wound up putting him in jail? A movie star wants to interview you for Rolling Stone. Oh, where do I sign up? I'll go right over there. And it's crazy, and it is really, really interesting thing that is indicative of human nature and why we do what we do. His ego is what got him locked up. And you can say it was Sean Penn, you can say it was tacos, you can say it was any number of things, but ultimately, the thing that got El Chapo banged up again was the fact that he had a propensity for narcissism, which would not allow him to keep the low profile necessary to keep him out of the pokey. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Hey, You ever gotten a letter from HR? Funkhouser? You ever been slapped on the wrist?
Yeah.
For anything that you've done in the workplace?
Uh-huh.
Oh, what was it?
Oh, man. Do we have enough
probably
time?
don't want to. Is it, was it a previous employer?
Yeah, an old roommate of mine stole a bottle of wine from a radio host. And they were wondering where the bottle of wine went. And they looked at the security cameras, and there I am. And there's my roommate / thief stealing a bottle of wine from our friend. We talked about it.
Was it during like a Christmas party or something?
No, it's just sitting there at reception. It was a Friday night. He won't notice this. It was like a bottle of Dom Perignon. Congratulations on the launch of your new radio show across the country. Here's a bottle of wine. He left a note that was attached to the wine on the desk. So they came in. They're like, "What's this?" Let's look at the camera. Oh, 2 weeks of HR. Woo!
Well,
what about you?
There you go. No. Nope. Never happened. But I've also never played an offensive card game at work. TV station fired 7, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people for playing Cards Against Humanity at work. If you're gonna play if you're gonna play a board game at work, you should probably pick one where the goal is not to be as offensive as possible. Like, I don't know, Yahtzee. You ever been offended by Yahtzee, Funkhouser?
Depends on what comes up, I think.
Yeah. Me, not so much. No one's ever been offended by Yahtzee ever in the history of Yahtzee. No one's offended. 7 employees at the CBS station in Toledo, Ohio were stuck working over the New Year's weekend. And you're stuck working over the New Year's weekend. So they passed the time by playing Cards Against Humanity. You've played this, right?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Mm-hmm. They got caught, and all 7 of them were fired. The group included 3 people who were on-air talent, 2 anchors, and a meteorologist, plus a producer and 3 researchers. The station released a statement saying, quote, they fired the people because they violated, quote, our obligation to provide an environment in which all employees are treated with respect and dignity. Do you get this? Do you get this, Funkhouser? Do you understand why this would be wrong? Because if not, we need to retake that responsible broadcasting initiative.
Yeah, I guess so. What, were they in the break room or something? Just goofing around?
I suppose, yeah, if it is a public place where other employees could walk by, because, like, clearly they were all consenting to play Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, and, they should get, because you should get a pass for that, because you have to talk about stuff on news that's a little silly at times. So doesn't that desensitize you when you say some dirty stuff to your coworkers off there?
Well, also, like,
just in our field, though, not like...
I've got friends in TV, like, I've done some TV for, Fox in the past, and whenever I've gone into, like, the local television studios, and it always, maybe it's just because I'm used to seeing them all buttoned up, wearing a tie, being serious and stuff, that I find it that much more shocking. But I find the vast majority of television personalities that I've come into direct contact with in their workplace to be 200% more vulgar than anyone in radio. Like, they're just, radio folks tend to be drunk at work. That is not uncommon. Yeah, well. Like, radio folks tend to self-medicate whilst on the job. That's a whole different thing. But in terms of being offensive, in terms of saying and doing things that would necessitate a call from the folks over at HR, I've always found TV folks, especially TV news folks, to be unmitigatedly filthy when they're off the air. And it's crazy because, like, they'll oh my God, what they let rip with while the cameras are off and they're in break is unfreaking believable. And then the fact that they go back on the air and in local news today, blah 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 blah, and then it's just crazy that they can compartmentalize like that. I can't do it. I don't.
We're gonna have we have a new friend that happens to be a weather guy.
Really?
That we'll be talking to in the next couple of months, and we'll have to ask him.
We do?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. We've talked about that thing, not here, but when we're not in front of microphones. Oh. There's a guy. He's a weather guy. He's our friend now.
Who? I'm sorry. I have who are we talking about?
I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Real classy. Why don't we just go to the story?
I get it. But, I don't know. Yeah. Are we out of show? I feel like we're out of show. Should we be done? Should we? Okay. Finishing out stronger than ever before.
I'm going on vacation.
Yeah, I know. I can tell. Have a great time hanging out with adult actresses in Las Vegas, Funkhouser. We'll be back next week. We'll do this all over again.
Times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being a better person and doing that. Well, this is not one of those times. I don't think you realize what's on my mind. I've been too nice for way too long. I think I want you to know just what is going on. So bite me, you're a bag of suck. Every second I'm around you, I put down to bad luck. And knowing you just sucks every day. And I wish I could find a way to make you go away. So maybe if I just tell you you're a terrible person, you leave me alone, yeah, that would stand to reason.